Hello, and welcome to the Monster Painter. This week, I'm going to make Stargrave terrain out of some thrift store toys. Alright then, here we have the star of the show. It appears to be part of an Angry Birds Star Wars game set, and depicts one of the evil egg-stealing pigs in a mechanical form. The main challenge with using such a clear and iconic thing as this is to break it from its clear Angry Birdsiness and render it into a generic piece of sci-fi scatter terrain. We really don't want our players recognizing it and snickering about evil pigs. So our first step will be to clip off one of the ears in order to break up the symmetry and reduce its recognizableness. Now we're going to stuff the screw holes in the back of this little toy with some foil. This way the bulk of the holes are filled up and we won't use a ton of mill putt during the next step. And here comes the mill putt already kneaded up. First we're going to fill in those screw holes. This is crucial because no matter how nice you paint a piece, if you don't fill these holes in, the thing will always look a bit like a toy. Now after that, I use a small amount of mill putt to fill in the pig's eyes. This will help push the piece away from its Angry Birds look and move it towards looking like a proper piece of sci-fi scatter terrain. Next, I'm going to use a whole bunch of mill putt to fill in the pig's nostrils, and hopefully this will pretty much de-Angry Birdsify the thing and remove all the silliness from the piece, making it look more and more like a proper piece of sci-fi scatter terrain. And now I want to introduce the other bits I'll be working on during this video. I acquired this big zap cannon a few years ago, removed some parts that were giving it a very action figure playset look, and primed it up. Then promptly left it on my shelf for years. And now it's ready to be finished. The other thing is a little bob that turned up in a bag of toy junk that I got at the thrift store. I like the look of it, and I think it'll make a nice piece of sci-fi terrain. So the zap cannon and the data terminal are going to get the same simple paint job as the space pig thing. Just a red base coat followed by a dry brushing of metallic silver, and then a heavy wash of ivory black, and then I'm going to futz with the details, and the result will be some suitable terrain for the unknowable future. The zap cannon looks big, powerful, and dangerous, and will help set the scenes, and the data terminal will make a very convincing objective marker for all that precious digital treasure in Stargrave. Now back to the star of the show. To further push this thing away from Angry Birds and towards being a sci-fi scatter terrain, I'm going to add a couple of gribbly bits. The first gribbly bit will be some piping from an old sprue out of a chemical plant constructor set. I got this a while ago, and I even did a whole video about it. It's a really fiddly gribbly bit in 4 parts, needing to be glued together and coaxed into place with some pliers. But once that's all done, we can fix it on to the main piece without any trouble whatsoever. The next gribbly bit is a little component out of a derelict Playmobil set, and it has a lovely little computer monitor graphic on it. I'm going to use a bit of fun tack to cover up this graphic, and hopefully it will preserve that graphic intact while we paint the rest of the piece. I will attach it with a little super glue. I placed it a little lower than I would have liked, but the parts bonded so hard I would need a clamp and chisel to get them apart. Definitely not worth the effort, and so they shall stay. Alright, here she is, primed up with acrylic gesso, a great primer for plastic terrain, plastic toys. And I'm going to give her a base coat of iron oxide red. I love to use iron oxide red as the base coat for just about everything I intend to look like old weathered metal, which is exactly what I hope this piece of terrain to look like. The next step on the old weathered metal train is a thorough dry brushing of metallic silver over the whole thing. I like to use a mixture of pearl white and Payne's gray. I find this mix makes a lovely, cool gunmetal color that contrasts well with the warm iron oxide base coat and helps move us towards our goal of making this thing look like a weathered old machine. And of course, the next step is to dirty up this bad boy by slapping a wash of ivory black on it. A black wash is an invaluable tool in miniature painting. It helps bring out the details and unify a piece. The problem with a black wash is it can make a model look dirty. This is not a problem when painting grungy old industrial equipment like this thing. I like to use ivory black because it has some transparency to it, and its warm tone makes the wash look nice and dirty. Okay, after the black wash, I added some more black to certain spots and did a little edge highlighting to other spots. And now she's ready for the big reveal, pulling off that fun tack to see how the computer screen graphic fared. And it looks like it survived well enough, but it's gonna need a bit of a touch-up. For the final step, I've broken out my magnifying lens. I will be adding a little bit of color to the tiny little buttons on the terminal, red, green, blue, and yellow. It is often these small details that make a piece of terrain look convincing, so it's well worth the effort. I will also be using a little bit of black to crisp up the screen. Again, these are the details that sell the whole thing. And with that done, the project is complete. Let's take a gander at the finished product. And I have to say, I'm very pleased. It no longer looks like the character from a popular video game franchise, but rather it has become a strange bit of machinery perfect for setting the scene in some unknowable, distant part of a gritty, grimy future. And as a result, it will be perfect for my upcoming game of Stargrave. Next week on The Monster Painter, I take on a great big jobber's lot of 40k terrain. God help me. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell. Ring the bell!